All right, so explain this to me, your basic thought process here as you're cutting this giant piece of meat.
All right, so
You ever see Game of Thrones when the oldest Lannister's cutting that elk in the field? That's what it reminds me of. Tywin.
I've actually not seen Game of Thrones, so don't.
All right, this video's over.
Alright, that's fair.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, I mean, basically on the brisket cut, you're going to have your fat cap, and then you're going to have kind of your meat side. So, we'll trim the meat side up a little bit. It'll take some of this fat off. You're going to want to take this fat off the side because it's really hard. It's never going to render.
Okay.
And then we're going to save all this too, so it's not going to waste.
Yeah.
A lot of guys will take this too, and they'll grind it up for hamburger.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Nothing better than that, truly. Brisket burger.
I mean, do they add in any other beef or just straight to
Yeah,
fat?
I mean, so when they're trimming a brisket normally, this is just going to be for chopped brisket, but they're doing competition brisket. They're going to trim almost all the way around here to get that fat cut.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, to get that flat cut nice and even. Because that's just not going to really cook all that well for competition slices, but
okay.
Throw that on a meat grinder, get something good going.
Nice. Probably pretty fatty. Like 70-30,
Yeah,
probably closer to 70-30 than 80-20.
Well, I mean, you can control how much fat goes into it.
Well, all right. Add meat grinder to our list of things we need to buy.
I actually have one.
Nice.
For KitchenAid.
All right, so you're just taking those pieces off there. And where is that, the silver skin, or where is?
There is a little bit of silver skin on here. I'm not going to worry about it too much.
Okay.
But maybe I'll get slaughtered in the comments because I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's about, well.
But we all got it.
Everyone's got their opinion, so this is just the way we are doing it.
This is the way I'm going to do it until someone tells me or shows me how to do it better.
Yeah, I'm sure people will have suggestions in the comments, but that's fine. Everybody's an expert from the keyboard.
Yeah, I have a sharper knife too, and I'm using this kind of ridiculous 12-inch chef's knife, but whatever. I don't have a lot of more room to work with in this kitchen either.
No. This is usually, we try to keep it pretty clean like this though. Very organized, as you can see. Especially gas house.
Only the best.
Only the best.
So,
the Keurig looks like we stole it from a thrift store.
What's that?
They said the Keurig and the toaster look like we just stole them from a thrift store.
Steve actually bought that.
Oh, all right. We'll edit this part out.
He's very proud of it, I think. Alright.
So that big hunk in the front's coming off too.
Yep. Cut this big chunk off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should have brought in my other knife.
I brisket with it, and I probably should be sharpening it in between steps, but so I'm just going to kind of try to get underneath this. Again, this is the flat cut. This is the point. This is filled with fat, so we're going to take most of this off and just kind of leave some of the fat on here. I'm going to try to trim it the best I can. Again, my knife's not all that sharp, so try to trim it nice and even. Get a little of this off because that is probably 3/4 of an inch, and you kind of want to get it down to about 1/4 inch.
Okay.
So I'm just going to kind of hack away at it. We're going to save all this fat. We're going to put it back on the grill. We're going to render it out. So behind Johnny is another pan of a brisket we already did. This is brisket number 2. So we got one more to do. Kind of square everything off. It's kind of hard to see where Johnny's standing, but I'm taking kind of big hunks of fat out that aren't really going to be all that viable.
How do you determine when you've got enough? I mean, just the best you can?
Yeah, so again, I mean, on the point, I'm going to try to get it down to meat. I'm going to try to leave as much meat on there as I can. Okay. Done a decent job here.
And again, going over the difference between the point and the flat, or the point's just where it comes to a point, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a nice and kind of even. You get really nice slices out of this. You can still get nice slices out of the flat, but it's kind of cool, and you can see it here. So the grain of this meat actually runs this way.
Okay.
And then when it gets to the point, you can see it here, it starts running this way. So when you actually sever this, you can see where the flat and point are kind of separate pieces. So you'll actually cut this way, and you'll come in and cut your slices for this way. Or you can do your burn-ins out of here.
Which is, you're always cutting against the grain.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
otherwise
when the grain
you get long,
switches,
weird, like straight, stringy pieces of meat that are not how brisket is meant to be enjoyed, in my opinion. What I'm doing is just kind of pulling the meat up, and then I'm kind of cutting up at an angle to try to separate the meat from the fat.
But you're gonna get a little meat no matter what, right? So I mean,
yeah. Once you get really, really good brisket skills that I don't possess yet, and
a better
sharp
knife.
So if you want to know which knife not to buy, IKEA.
Well, by the way their shelves hold up, I would assume their knives are similar.
Yeah, it's the same thing. The stuff on the side is just, it's pretty inedible. I don't care how long you cook it for. So we're just going to trim it all off. Again, really hard to see on camera, but it's a really hard fat, whereas this is really kind of soft. And this stuff is just like, I mean, it's almost like a rock at some points. But we'll save it, we'll render it out. It'll make a good fat to kind of wrap this in and
get more juice in there when you render the fat down. So we're gonna put it on the big green egg with the brisket, but in its own little pan, right? And then that's just gonna cook all the fat down into the pan. Then the juices that render out, we will then wrap with the finished brisket.
We'll show that too. It's gonna produce like this really nice white creamy fat. I actually like keep it from each of the brisket cooks and use it for different things in the kitchen. I brought some today, but
I like people do with bacon grease.
Sure. Yeah, same way. So this is pretty good. Again, we're not going for perfection. These are going to be chopped for sandwiches. It's for a charity event, so it's really more about how much we can. Right. It's really about how much meat we can get out of each of these without wasting too much. So not the best trim job. I think the first one I did was a little better. And then last piece of fat we're going to have. It just kind of runs up the side of this point. I'm just going to kind of carve it out at an angle because it's just filled with this really hard kind of, I think they call it deckle fat. Again, we're not going for perfection. We're going for good enough today.
Good enough.
All right. Let's cut it.